Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in today. Oh, wow, I'm so thrilled. I'm excited. This is my first episode. Welcome to the Social Spotlight. My name is V. I have an amazing guest here, and it's a ladies' thing. I'll let her introduce herself so that we can get into this conversation as we move on. You're most welcome, and thank you so much for making time to join this episode.
Thank you, V. I'm humbled to be here. I'm called Chimo Frida Rebecca, a social worker by profession, and Frida Foods by choice. I'm a baker and a chef by choice. I'm glad to be here and happy to be her first.
Yay!
They say first cut is the deepest, so
Yeah,
I'm
right.
happy to be her first.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Frida, for being my first cut. And guys, I'm so excited. Thank you. Once again, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you're joining from. Thank you so much, and you're welcome to the Social Spotlight. The Social Spotlight is a podcast on finance and current affairs. And for many of us, finance is quite a boring topic. Well, I must admit, for me too, it is. And just the other day, I was looking through my Instagram, and there's something new that I learned. You can did you know that you can identify as trans financial?
That's new to me.
Well, being trans financial means that, like me, oh God, V, I am a rich girl stuck in a broke girl's body, and that is and that is the most
Oh.
painful thing you can ever have as a youth living in Uganda. But well, just to give you a little hint on why I chose to intentionally do a show on finance and current affairs, because being a Ugandan, and especially a young girl in Uganda, for me is a full-time job. Yeah, you'll find that for many of us, we are not good at money. Yeah, we do not know how to save. I don't know if it's just that we are ignorant about this information, because I believe there's so much out there we can learn. But we very many times are comfortable living in the bare minimum. We are constantly living in survival mode. Yeah,
Yeah, that's very true.
man, being Ugandan, I think we should be, what is that word called? Just
Awarded. It's a full-time job. Being a Ugandan is a full-time job.
True, true, true. So for me, of course, it's going to be a great journey for learning, and so I think I chose right. I may not love it, but recently I attended a content creators session whereby the one of the content creators from Kenya, Ivy. Some of you might know her from Instagram, just Ivy. She mentioned that sometimes we got to do the things we do not like to get us a step forward to the things that we truly love, and the things that we, truly appreciate, and those things that will get us earning all the big bucks we need. And for people who follow me on Twitter, you see me calling myself the future billionaire. These monies don't come up, overnight. There's hard work. And living in Uganda, you'll find that there are very many side hustles you're doing. But even when you sit down at the end of the day, or even at the end of the month to compile the monies, they don't add up. There is bills. These bills are endless. Sometimes I just want to go out on national TV and scream out loud that somebody should adopt me. Hey, anybody wants to adopt a 20-year-old something bouncing baby girl? Frida, do you want to adopt me?
No.
Wow, all right. So, diving into our topic today, I'll let Frida let us know what she thinks about the topic as sustainable investment. In your opinion, what do you think as young people, especially in the Uganda, what do you think that we should do to be able to achieve it? You know.
Well, thank you, V. Like she said, in my opinion. So, this last week, between Wednesday and Friday, I actually attended a workshop. And I'm going to focus on this particular topic in regard to the workshop, because I learned a lot from it, and someone could pick a leaf from what I learned. And there is more to it, but we may not exhaust everything in this first show. Maybe there are more shows to come. It was about agrotourism.
Right.
Agrotourism is a company, an association that deals with smallholder farmers in semi-arid areas, particularly to empower them and give them seedlings
Right.
that they can use such that their livelihoods improve. And then these people get for them market, assured market, whereby they are sure that after harvesting my crops, I'm going to sell them to this particular truck, to this particular person they have contracts with. And then this person is going to take it to the main buyer.
Right.
So your job is to invest your time, your energy, and your land, the resources that you're given, the seedlings, the knowledge, because they train people before getting you to start to plant.
Right.
You go through a series of training with professionals, not just anyone who doesn't know about something. These are professionals. They are in partnership with VI Agroforestry. I don't know if
What is VI?
it's a donor organization.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's one of the biggest organizations. It's actually international.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It's not just in Uganda. It's in Kenya. It's in Sweden. So it's empowering people to become the best version of themselves in semi-arid areas. So let's talk about Kitgum, for example. It's a dry place. So they get these youth, they get women. The target is women mostly.
Right,
because
right.
you know what women, when you empower a woman, you know
Right.
what. You're empowering a child, you're empowering a mother, you're empowering a father.
Right.
You're empowering a husband.
Right.
I mean, so they train these women and they give them knowledge. So when they go out there and do these things, they improve themselves.
Right.
For them, that becomes sustainable investment. Why? Because when I have given you the power, I have given you the knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Right. Right.
You live in a semi-arid area, and you know, oh, in this area, food cannot grow. But then I come and tell you, oh, no, you're wrong. Food can actually grow in this area.
Right.
All you need to do is do this, A, B, C, D. Have an irrigation scheme, which I can help you with. With a contract, of course. I can bring you generators, I can bring you. So in the end, you find that those people have very good quality foods.
Right.
It starts from home because these are people who are known to die of hunger. That is for sure. For those who know about it, in Karamoja, people are still dying of hunger.
True.
Like
True.
in homes, people are still. You find someone is hungry until they die. That
True.
is still happening in
Right.
Uganda.
Right. Right.
So if these people are empowering them to learn how to live away from nomadic pastoralism and adopt to farming,
Right.
it's a very big step to the future of these semi-arid areas, because it's going to be sustainable since it's a program that is there to stay.
Right. Okay, thank you, Farida. Sorry about that. Now, let me bring it to the context of a typical Kampala youth, you know, the slayers, there's a time, the semi-kozos, you know. For many of them, farming is a dirty something, you know. And of course, the president of the Republic of Uganda, hello, Mr. President, I don't know if you'll ever get to see this, but well, the president has always fronted farming. And of course, even as a country, we pride a lot in agriculture, but I think it is something that has not yet been fully embraced by the young people. How do you think all those schemes that are out there can tap into the youth and encourage, especially the people living in Kampala, giving the fact that, first of all, there may not even be land to do this farming? How can we adopt some of the modern practices to get youth more involved in agricultural practices, you know, for investment for future?
Well, I'm sure there are some government programs that also have that boosts in villages, because as we go out there to talk about agrotourism, there are so many people who already have some government programs going on. I think the first step of sustainable income starts with an individual. You've seen enough, you want to change. Yes?
Right.
You have a job, this job pays you 800,000. You can pay your rent, you can pay your transport.
Typically survivor mode, yes.
Survivor mode. But you want more.
Right.
You want to buy land in 5 years. Let me
Right.
give it a maximum of 5 years. You want a house in the next 10 years. You want your land and your house. So how will you achieve this if you only have the job that is giving you survival mode? Because this is hand to mouth. From your account, it goes to the landlord, it goes to the market, it's just there to sustain you. Now, when you want more, you say, I am tired of this situation. You get it? Once you accept that you're tired, you look for a way forward. Yes? Now, if you want a way forward, it's about knowledge. Like we mentioned earlier, knowledge is power.
True.
You can start by doing small scale home farming, for example, just to boost your knowledge. You wake up, you get normal buckets that people throw, put some manure and some soil, even from a friend's garden, and just put something small to start with. For example, a tomato. Watch it grow and see, oh, maybe as you see it sprout, as you see the beauty, you may actually be thrilled and say, oh, I think I want more of this.
Do you know, in Micafunda, there's sometime I tried that. And oh my God, they died. Oh, the plants died. So in my head, I'm like, am I a harsh plant mother or something?
Not at all. Not at all.
Is it that these things are allergic to the tap water in my house? Or
Not
it
at
was
all.
quite devastating to watch.
That is where the knowledge
Right.
of agriculture comes from, because they're very sensitive. It's like having a pet. It's like having a child. For those who have pets, for sure, you know this. That becomes like part of, it's like a child. So that is the same thing that you do with agriculture if you want to yield from it.
Right.
So it's about you getting tired of a situation that you're in and you want more, and then you seek for knowledge. Because I am sure of some government programs that actually give people seedlings. Yeah? And when they do, it's just about you clearing land, and they even give you the knowledge. They will tell you, when you want good yields, this is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
If you don't do this, this is what will happen. And indeed, if you don't, that is what will happen.
Sure.
So it all comes back to you wanting more.
Right. Okay, delving a little bit away from agriculture. For sure, we know some of the factors that enhance sustainable investment include environmental, social, and governance, whereby we're looking at the 13th SDG, which is more leaned towards climate action. In your opinion, once again, how can we encourage or foster youth? And we are looking at an instant whereby we are promoting, besides awareness creation about climate action and all its activities, how can we encourage youth to monetize climate action for sustainable investment to them?
Oh, I think the first thing is we should encourage people to plant trees.
Right.
I keep telling my children that if you planted a tree on every birthday, by the time you're 20, you will have 20 trees.
Interesting.
If you have 20 trees, that particular area alone is going to have so many benefits that it has in regard to climate.
Right.
So if we embrace some of these things, it's real things.
True, I believe, because the associations like Rotaract and Rotary that are already doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is. Wow. Yes, it is. I love that you're encouraging your children, to do it. Hey guys, I hope you're encouraging your children to do it too. Like they can just name it, whatever they
First
want.
birthday, second
Then
birthday.
that way they are able to take care of it. They're learning
Yes.
right from the childhood. Wow,
Yes.
interesting. Now, for many of us, sometimes we want to save, but you look at it and you get your salary, and then when you tick off all the bills, rent, water, garbage, food, and then the vibes, money, you put in there just for the hair, the nails, girlfriend, or maybe you want to surprise your kabebi. And then at the end of the day, you realize that you want to save. Honestly, you want to save your money, and you look at you like, who am I kidding? What do you think really when we get them? How do we prioritize that when you receive the money? I have to be so intentional and save, because the schemes like the unit trusts that are giving interest, there are things like circles, there are things like cash rounds. How, of course, the cash rounds I've noticed they're being more embraced by the youth, because this is whereby you collect money at the end of a certain period, either a week or a month, somebody gets to take it home. But then also we need to look at long term. How can we, much as what we are getting is meager in the economy, as you know, you've grown here and lived here for most of your life, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
How can we make it more realistic for a Ugandan youth to be able to earn that much, kick off all the bills, live a decent life, and still be able to keep in some money, because we are not growing any younger.
True.
How do we look at the bigger picture for because many a times we are depressed, man. We are very pained. We are very depressed people. Yeah.
Sure.
How do we get out of this? Because most of our problems come from money.
Well, I think once you have a salary, in my opinion, you are not supposed to spend without saving. The saving is supposed to come before the expenditure.
Right.
For instance, we have most banks have fixed deposit accounts. Just link it to your account. You're earning, I'm giving a minimum wage of 800,000 shillings. This 800 enters your account. Just tell your head, I am earning 600,000.
Okay, I think I should try that next time I get a gig.
So, 600 every month. The other money, the 200, goes automatically to your. Immediately, it's put on when you give a date. Let's say, give it 28th. Every time money goes into your account, that money goes off. So you remain with 600,000, which you will plan accordingly.
Right.
So the house you live in, the food you eat, where you go to, should fit within that, because it's possible. It's just about adjusting.
But do you know that there are some people who just fitting in is not for them.
And then
they want to be extraordinary. You know how they like fake it till you make it?
That is living outside your means. So if we are talking about saving, this is for people who are ready to make sacrifices. Personally, I'm in a Rosca. A Rosca is the weekly, where a Rosca is a rotating cash round, whereby you have forced saving that you do every single Sunday for it, because for us ours we give cash to one member every single Sunday. We're 25 members. You give 100,000. All of you give that one person that particular Sunday. Then the next Sunday another gets. Then I also have a monthly where we do 200,000 per month. Now if all this money comes and in 1 year I am not able to do anything, then I don't know what saving is.
Right.
Because if the weekly comes, we make sure that we put, if you have 2 accounts, we make sure we put your accounts next to each other, so that you get reasonable money.
Right.
For example, 2.5 million.
Right.
And you can actually deposit for like as long as you live within your means.
Right.
You can grow within your means.
True.
Because if you get 2.5 million and close your eyes, you can go and deposit for land. There are places, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the city. Yeah, there are places that have land of 12 million in Mukono, for example, 10 million. Go deposit for your land, and another round comes, do it again. You can do it in a year, and in a year, actually, you can have the land. So it all comes back to your choices as a person. What is your priority? What do you want? Yes.
Nice one. Nice way to look at it. But then there also this segment of young people who are unemployed. You find somebody has really tried, they've applied, whatnot, and so at some point they just give up. And then, for lack of a better word, I think we get a creativity block, whereby somebody cannot think out of the box. Sometimes, of course, you may think, let me start a business, but there's no finance. How does that fit into that person without feeling that they're being mocked? You know, that, okay, you know, I'm not employed, there's no source of income, so you're talking about investment. What is there for me to invest now, you know, in my status? How do we address such issues? Because now, for me, I want us to look at giving solutions, yeah?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, you can do anything you want within your means. One, for sure, if there's something I know for sure in Kampala, if you have friends, you can do something about it.
But don't those friends
For
get tired?
example, I know people who have shops in Kampala. I mean, big shops. Let me talk about what I know that sell duvets,
Right.
beddings. Yes? And there is someone out there who is very good with internet. Morning to sunset, she's on social media, she's on WhatsApp, she's on Facebook, I mean, you have so much time on you that you can actually do marketing, but you don't know that you can do marketing.
True, true.
So if you're broke, but you want to do something and you have time, you can market. Go to one of these shops. Talk to
Pitch yourself.
Exactly. Talk to the owner. Ask them, I am so and so, I can do this, I can do this. In most cases, if you have someone who has actually connected you to this shop, it's much better because it's about trust.
True.
So have your clients,
Right.
keep advertising. You don't need money.
Right.
Just use your phone, advertise. When you get a client, call the shop. Hello, I have a client. May I have a duvet? You have agreements because they also know that they resell.
True.
If you have given a duvet, for example, to a client at 150,000, and the original seller has given it to you at 130,000, that is 20,000.
Right.
Nothing starts big.
True.
That is for sure. I've done this before, and I know nothing starts big.
Right.
So if you start like that, and in a week you can sell 5 of them, that is 100,000. Tell me what stops you from earning 400,000 shillings in a month.
Interesting. But then you know, we live in an era where the young people are very entitled.
Ooh.
So for somebody, you pitch this nice idea to someone, you're going to learn me to do that. We despise jobs. Yeah, somebody's going to look at that and be like, me, a whole me. I mean, look at me,
V,
a
I mean,
whole
oh.
me. And I'm wondering, can I do this? Hell no. But also, while we're at it, I think let me use this opportunity to tell everybody, young person out there, that the ideas or ideologies like virtual assistants, for a very, very long time, I was unemployed. But then I did virtual assistance, and some of these things are pretty self-taught. You have skills, because I have administrative skills, like you mentioned, computer skills, digital skills. So virtual assistance for me basically has been offering remote administrative support to individuals and organizations. But then also, as time goes on, you do some bit of research. Virtual assistance is something that in the outside world countries, outside Africa, it is largely embraced, yeah, and people are thriving. And yet here we are struggling. It's not something people fully embrace yet, because somebody wants to see you physically stationed there. Yet they do not know that if you hire me as a virtual assistant, you're saving space for that I could have sat in. You're saving on utility bills. You're saving on the daily transport. You don't have to buy me lunch. I can sit at my computer wherever I am and deliver. Yeah. So young people can tap into such opportunities as well. And also the organizations currently like MasterCard Foundation, PSFU, that are going all out into empower young people. 2 months ago, actually in July, yeah, the MasterCard and Private Sector Foundation were launching the youth engagement campaign.
You see?
So, but then also, when you look at it, the youth, I was privileged to be part of this event, well, mostly as an event planner. But then also, my concern would have been for such events and such uplifting youth targeted campaigns, do most of these youth get opportunities to such activities? Is the information easily accessible? And if it's not, how do we help organizations like MasterCard, PSFU understand that, this is a really good idea, but how do you reach to the much larger, the real targets? Yes. Because many times you find that these are people who can actually afford to do some of the things, even if they don't get support from such organizations, they can afford the capital. And yet there's a youth there that is really desperate for such an opportunity, but they can't find it. How do we help such people?
Well, you're already doing it. I mean,
nice.
V is already doing it. So one of the ways to get to the youth, if there's something I know, majority of the youth are using social media.
True. Right.
So if there is any information that you want a youth to get in this era, it's social media. Write something down, send it on WhatsApp. Most of the people will read it. Even if you have episodes, up to 20 episodes, they will actually read it.
I highly doubt they will read. Maybe they would watch. We have a bad reading culture.
Listen, make it interesting and they will do it.
Right.
Write a book and give someone. Even if you had put there some money in between the pages, trust me. It's going to, that money will stay there, especially if you have big volumes.
Right.
That money will actually stay there. And when you say, after, for us who have done literature, we've read books and they're telling you have a test in.
So you were the cool kids in school.
Yeah, we were the cool kids in school.
Right.
So someone has a book that is this big, and they're telling you have a test in 2 weeks, and it has over 500 pages. And you have to read, internalize, and the teacher will just pick anything from any page. Yes? So it's about getting to people out there. For example, you have a YouTube channel.
Right.
V. After a couple of months, people are going to know you.
Right.
People already know you, but this is not enough.
Right.
After a couple of months, people are going to know your name.
Right.
And when you send information out there, it will actually go where it's meant to reach.
Right.
So these people who are very influential are the people who should be some of the ambassadors for some of these things.
True.
Because if you're influential, even without someone, if I follow you because I love you, in a week I can't fail to check on you.
True.
Meaning, if I check and find something interesting that will benefit me, I will definitely take it up. But if I don't, it means it will keep running without even my knowledge. There are so many, yes, like you mentioned, there are so many organizations that are aiming to help youth, but it stops at the youth that are elite, actually.
Right. True.
Not the ones that are needy.
True.
Not the ones, like you mentioned, not the ones who need these services, but the ones who already have
access to this
access
kind of
to
information.
that is where it ends. So it needs awareness, like you mentioned, videos, and short and precise. For example, I am selling this product, show the product, let a picture speak for the product. People don't want to read. That is yes. Reading is not a culture that Ugandans have adopted yet.
Not at all.
So, like I mentioned, if something is interesting, people will read.
You'll be on a WhatsApp chat room, there's a very long text, and somebody is coming out, they're like, can you please record this?
Now you know.
Yes.
People do not want to read. So, if by any chance you can, send a message through a picture. And I mean, I can look at you, V, and say something about you even without me hearing you speak.
Right.
The way you've presented yourself alone is enough for me to know a little bit about you. So it's just a picture that can speak.
True.
For example, if these organizations have something that they need to help the youth with, let's say, I'll go back to agriculture.
Right.
There is a tree that has been drawn, and there is an organization, and it maybe the tree has 5 fingers, and then on this finger there is something it speaks about on the other. When someone looks at that picture once, they will actually pick something, and then possibly there are contacts, there is an email, you want to know more, and check on the contact. There's a what normally this lately there is always a WhatsApp contact attached to most of these things.
Right.
So if you want the message to get out there, emails, WhatsApp contacts, phone numbers, it will.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's bring this to relationship context. I know for sure you've been in a committed relationship, and for money matters are some of the I believe the hardest conversations to talk about. How did you go about it? And for us who are hoping to join the marriage institution, how do we go about it? Because even when you're dating somebody, sometimes you're really unable to meet some of your needs, yeah, but then also they do not owe you anything to spend on you.
Entitlement.
Exactly, they do not owe you anything, and you genuinely need the help. How do you approach your partner and ask for support? Not like, okay, baby, you owe me, but I really need this, and I'm hoping you can come through for me. You know, how do you approach money topics in relationships?
Relationships or marriage?
Marriage, particularly marriage.
Okay, I think for me it's always been an open conversation. We discuss about our bills.
Right.
Most of our bills are consistent, because if we were to say there's this education bill, there's the feeding bill, there's the transport bill. Most of the bills are now, because over the years it's now been consistent. So if me and him agree that I cover let's say the household bills, and maybe I'm not doing well that month, all of us have obligations somewhere else.
True.
Especially girl child.
True.
You are always attached to there is someone who is always in need, maybe a brother, a cousin, a sister. There is something that is always happening at home. Maybe someone is calling you, or I need this, and some of these are actually commitments that you may not easily discuss with your partner.
True.
It's not all the time that you tell them, because like they say, there are certain things that you need to keep to yourself.
Right.
You because it's not all the time that you're always having these problems.
True.
It's not healthy to be in a problematic relationship.
Right. Because
Yes.
it would get so depressing for the other
Yes.
person. Yeah.
So it's there at that point when you talk about it and say, oh, maybe baby, this month has not been good for me, but do you mind? And for sure, I know that if someone genuinely appreciates and loves you, the provision comes automatic. For me,
Oh,
that is what I know,
Okay.
because that is what I get.
Must be nice. Must be nice. Yeah.
The provision comes automatic, because
Must be really nice.
my woman has to eat, my woman has to dress, my woman has to look good, my woman has those needs that she will not tell me. My woman has, if you don't do this, don't expect her to wait, because someone else is actually
We should all
waiting.
tap into Frida's dating pool.
Someone is actually waiting to give it to her.
Right.
If you don't want to give it to her.
True.
So at the end of the day, it's about how you sustain. Coming back to sustainable finance and investment. marriage is an investment of its own, but we are not going
but
to go
okay,
there.
hear me out.
Yes.
What if I start on the high? You know, I am providing for my lady. Okay, I'm assuming I'm the guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Let me put myself in the man's shoe.
Mm.
I started on a very high note. I am taking her to expensive places. I've exposed her to a certain kind of lifestyle. So certain things change along the way. How do you transition? Or should it be do you know how does somebody maintain that? Because it's practically impossible, especially in this economy we live in. Sometimes the times are good, sometimes I don't know. Doesn't it get
Oh.
straining for the other party?
I think that's where people go wrong. You need to be yourself.
True. Okay.
I keep saying this all the time. One of the things I say so much about myself is that I am myself. Let the world around me adjust.
Nice. I am myself. Let the world around me adjust.
So it begins with me.
Right.
It begins with my comfort, what I want, like as long as it makes me happy. And then actually when I do this, the world will automatically it will adjust.
Right.
Are you trying to say if V you got up and said today I'm not going to work, and you're a business lady, for example, will anything change in the world?
Yeah, for me it would, because I mean then there's this bill knocking on my door and I'm like,
Exactly.
okay.
Your bill.
Yes.
It is your bill, not anybody's bill.
Right.
So if it is about you, the world will adjust. So sometimes we take life too seriously that we are forgetting that the simple things in life matter.
Right. Right.
Simplicity. So when you come to me on a high note, yes, I am expecting a high note, because they always say that in a relationship, yes, you don't owe me anything, but when it goes to a certain level, you start having expectations.
True. True.
In the beginning, when it's not so serious, you may not have expectations, but with time, it is automatic for every human being. Once you say, I am your boyfriend, I am your girlfriend.
But have you met African men? To be particular, Kampala, you're not even sure you're dating. Just one day they start calling you baby.
So set, like I said, it's about you.
Right.
Set the pace.
Right.
So if this man is taking me to Serena, to Sheraton, and that is not who I am. I mean, personally, I keep telling people that I will not go and eat at a place I cannot afford a meal.
Go girl, that's the
No.
spirit. Yeah.
What if, I'm not saying it can actually happen, because the kind of people I am around will not do that to me. But what if that person says, oh, I forgot my wallet, and you're at Sky's Lounge, your bill is 300,000 shillings.
You wash dishes, you learn to wash dishes.
No! So, live, like, do something that you're sure even you as a person can sustain.
Right.
The man will, if it's always about taking, person allowed get tired.
True. True.
It's draining.
True.
Emotionally, financially, socially. If I'm always the one, like you mentioned, you're the man, I'm always the one taking you, you reach a point and get tired.
Wow, this has been so amazing, Frida. I have to carry this conversation after here, and maybe you could give us some parting shots.
Well, like we mentioned earlier, it begins with you. If you're tired of a situation, brace yourself and start the journey. Before you start it, if you keep talking about it, you will never begin. But once you begin, that is where you'll see a way forward. You'll see yourself going, moving ahead and not coming behind. And about savings, like I mentioned earlier, save before you spend.
True.
Because without that, you'll never save.
Right. Thank you so much, Frida.
You're welcome.
For my parting shots, I think for people who are not yet earning all the big monies, start small. Their weekly and, like she mentioned earlier, rotational circles, their unit trusts, for entities like UAP Insurance, go make some research, walk to them, and find out more about unit trusts. And also, thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. This has been so amazing. Please pardon the too much that is going on in the background. The final video will be posted on YouTube, and then you'll have a chance to watch it. Thank you so much, Frida, for making time today
You're
to join.
welcome.
And we have made history together. Thank you so much, listeners and people who are able to join in. We do appreciate you, and I see you. I appreciate your support. I love you guys. And see you. This will be a bi monthly podcast. So see you in 2 weeks, and have a good night.